took my heart, left it out in the heat. Hey, you broke the beat, now I'm lost in a loop, no repeat. Hey, you broke the beat, you broke the beat. Oh yeah. Your words hit sharp like a broken bottle. Spilled all the love, now it's dry, it's hollow. We were fire, now just smoking shadows. Echoes of you in my empty hollow. How do you groove when the music's gone?
So in the video today we have a video about this cheap drone, which is also very lightweight, 180 grams, but also has two things I really like about it, but also a few things that are a bit of a downside about this kind of drones. So first thing first, you have an application from the Ameta brand, so you can pair up your phone with the drone, and then you can see the camera view of the drone. But also you can use this drone in two kind of modes. Attitude mode, so this means actually more like a manual mode that you have all control about the drone. But there's no backup, so this means in case you lose the drone or you drop the drone, there's no location from the drone. But you also have the GPS mode. And with the GPS mode you not only have the possibility to locate the drone, but the drone also has the possibility to get home, to find your location back, but to also go around some waypoints you set up with the drone. So this makes this drone pretty unique and functional for its price, but also for its pretty lightweight use. But there are a few things that are a bit of a downside with these kind of modes. For example, the GPS mode. The GPS mode, I was only able to get it working at some locations here. This also has to do with being the countryside of where I live. So this means there are not a lot of GPS signals, at least not those that are open source, so they are not like from some brands. This means this drone, I was more able to use it in its attitude mode. And with the attitude mode you do have the possibility to use this drone. But because this drone is pretty lightweight and pretty simple and also pretty tiny, it does have a bit of a hard time to keep itself stable, even with just some small wind scenarios. I even tried this drone at a place with a lot of wind, but I can definitely say it dropped instantly. It also has some damage on the front because of that. And this has to do with being lightweight, but also the propeller design. These are loose, which means that of course they can work pretty well on the pressure of flying and on the rotations of the engine. But it does mean that in case of winds or drop in the pressure underneath the blades, they can move around. And then this drone gets a bit unstable. And this was definitely seen or definitely clear with some wind scenarios. But even if I just blow at the drone, or the drone gets near to a table, for example, or the ground, then you definitely see that this drone is like over compensating or over calibrating itself to keep itself stable. And this just didn't always work, especially with wind. So keep that in mind, that this drone is really made to be beginner drone, but also to be used at locations with minimal wind, minimal interference, and especially if you use the GPS mode, be in a very clear area, but not too clear where I live, because then there are no GPS or very limited GPS signals. But again, this drone does do a few things pretty cool, and the video quality of the drone is pretty simple. They claim it's 4K drone, but if you see the video quality, you can say it's definitely not 4K resolution in experience, but it's around 720p to be really native to talk about quality. So the drone is not really that great to make videos, but at least with this camera you do have the possibility to see where you are flying, but even in lower light scenarios or darker scenarios, it does have the tendency to have a pretty good ISO installing. So it does have the tendency to be pretty alright as an first person view camera. So overall this drone is made to be low budget, but still to be pretty stable for being its price range and size. And I can definitely say if you take this drone, it's definitely for on the go, but also to be as a beginner. It's really to try out how to fly a drone, because it is semi-automatically flying, so you don't really have to do a lot of with the attitude control and so on. But at least it does still give you the feeling you still have to compensate a lot of things with this drone, especially with the wind, of course. So yeah. Overall, I do think that the experience with this drone really depends on personal use. If you want a drone that's very stable, that makes great video recordings, that even can go pretty high, pretty far away, then this is not your drone. Then you really need to take a look at the Hover Air, for example, which I tested out some months ago, which was a lot more expensive, but that one was smaller, much more stable, and of course had the real video quality built in. But if you want a drone that is nice to use, easy on the go, that's not too expensive, so you don't need to be too careful in case of dropping it or flying it somewhere where you don't want to, then this one is pretty cool deal. It even has replacement propellers, so even some screws. So this means in case one of those breaks, you can replace them. And I can definitely say I dropped this drone now, I think maybe 10 times because of the wind, and it's pretty unstable outdoors. They still are in one piece. So the blades, I don't think you drop them instantly. I just think it depends also on your use scenario. But at least it's great there are some replacements, because these blades can also like get damaged, but also like go softer over materials over the time of use. So keep that in mind. So it's pretty great they have replacements, but also this case, it's pretty well done. So you have everything that you need, and you can also store the drone away. The other thing where this drone does do a pretty well job is the battery life. The battery life is pretty well done. I get around 15-20 minutes per battery, so you do have 2 batteries included. But because these batteries don't have a charging port on the battery, you do need to charge both of them in the drone. So keep that in mind. If you really want 2 batteries on the go, you do need to put also the other battery inside the drone, so it's also full. But if the batteries are full, you can get 20-50 minutes of flying time. They claim 25 minutes, but I do think that their claim on 25 minutes is more made to be when you use this drone, let's just say on a very stable scenario on one place, and maybe move it only on the speed 1 of the controller. Because if you use the speed 2, you get more dynamic control. The drone is also pretty much faster than on the speed 1 mode, but also a bit more unstable. So it's really 2 different modes, but also a completely different way of controlling the drone. But the controller, it's just pretty fine. You can use your phone in this holder if you use the app. You can also use this drone without the app, so you then use only the attitude control. The downside about this, you don't have any information about the battery life of the drone, about its range, about the GPS information, and so on. So if you do not use your phone, you're pretty blind with this drone for sure. So overall, a pretty cool experience. And I do think if you want something cheap, easy to use, and also pretty durable, even though it's pretty unstable in winter scenarios, it's pretty cool drone. But if you really want something for video recording, definitely look somewhere else. But then you also have a budget that will be 2-3 times higher. I hope you guys enjoyed this video about this drone, and see you all in the next one.